Hey guys, it's Adam with Unleashed Wargaming. I'm making this video because there's a lot of stuff out there right now with this errata, the FAQ, 50% Lords and Heroes, the whole End Times book, and then all these huge characters that are 1,000 points with 10 wounds and all this craziness, and everybody seems to be going crazy over it. So wanted to just jump in with some opinions. I don't work for Games Workshop, so I don't know exactly what's going on, but I have been playing fantasy for 20 years this year, and have been in all their other campaigns and all their stuff like that, and just have some insight on the way they've done in the past. Number one, I want to start with a review on the End Times. I bought the book. I wasn't going to. I was just going to continue playing 8th edition, let them work out all their new End Time stuff, and then start playing Ninth when it came out, and just bypass all the temporary rules. I'm actually still going to do that, but I went ahead and bought the book just because I kept reading how incredible the story was and the fluff. And sure enough, I bought it. I picked it up last Sunday, and here it is Tuesday, and I'm almost finished. And I actually hadn't even read today or much yesterday, so I almost read the entire thing in a week. It's great. Characters that I've been playing against and playing with for 20 years are dropping like flies. I'm not going to tell any specifics. There's lots of things on the forums giving away all the surprises, and so but I'm not going to do that here. It's really good, very well written. It's not written like a novel where they give you every detail. It's more like the history in each one of the army books, where it's a very quick story, fast paced, and then they kind of slow it down for the combat, the action, and you don't get much dialogue. There's not a whole lot of boring dialogue either. Every once in a while, when something important comes up, there's a break in the page where they actually have the dialogue, and you can read it if you want or skip it if you want. So, very well written. It has a whole bunch of very cool artwork, maps that kind of lay out where you can follow their path and see what they did. And they even did the action like battle reports, where right before the combat starts, they have a layout with pictures of all the units and a brief history on that unit. Sometimes it doesn't really pertain to what happens, but it's just some cool insight they have on that. It's fluff you could make up for your own units and stuff like that. Um, Very good book. I highly recommend it, whether you're going to use the rules or not. In fact, I've only cracked open the rule book one time, and that was to read the Lore of Undeath, because I am all for new stuff coming into the game. So, that being said, I want to move over what I'm going to cover in the video. I'll give you just a brief background on Games Workshop and the things that has happened in the 20 years I've been in it anyway. Talk about the 50% Lords and why everybody should stop freaking out about it. The huge characters, the same thing, and the end time books. Why I don't think it's. There's a lot of people even quitting the game because they're afraid that's just done now. And then what I think Ninth Edition is going to bring. And anyway, the brief background, like I said, I've been playing this for 20 years, and I don't think Games Workshop has ever messed up. Everybody complains about the prices, all that kind of stuff. But really, you look at the quality of the models. When I started playing this, a buddy of mine and I went to a store called Lion and Unicorn here in Alabama. And we were looking for 40K. That's all I had seen anyway. And when we got there, they were playing a game of fantasy. And 40K just like blew out of my mind. Just forget that. Fantasy's awesome. So I bought some high elves. Everything was pewter. And looking back on some of it now, I still got some of my very first models. And they look horrible. They're just, I guess for that time, I thought they were amazing. But now it's just, from what they have now, this is just 1,000 times better. So the quality of what they're putting out now, I know there's some people out there like Buy Painted and some other people that are, knocking Games Workshop for charging more and giving less and all that. But that's true. Let me back up. That's true. They are charging a lot, and I'm sure they're making huge profits. But the models are great, and they have an incredible play system. So, but I don't have a big problem with that. Um, Looking at this now with what they're doing, the 50% Lords. I played when the Island of Albion came along. That was one of the very first campaigns I actually took part of, and everybody was up in arms. Oh, they're going to kill. I think that was 4th edition, and they're saying, oh, they're going to kill fantasy. The Island of Albion has appeared, and all these new characters are coming up. Whoever wins this campaign, whichever army gets the most winners reported, gets new magic items, and everybody else just kind of picks up a couple of extra things. Um, Everybody thought this was, oh, they're ruining it. Games Workshop is really messed up. But, they didn't. It turned out to be great when they finished the Island of Albion. I mean, you had new giant models. They didn't stick around because they were kind of skinny vegetarian giants or whatever. But it wasn't bad. They kept going. It turned out to make some improvements. Um, we did get new characters. And, things were just better. Then 5th edition, I remember it was either the change from 4th to 5th or the change from 5th edition to 6th edition, where you had a magic box set. You had to pay $50 for it, and it came with cards and Wind of Magic cards, and you had cards for all the spells, and that's how the Winds of Magic worked. Well, and templates and all that good stuff too, $50. And then when they changed magic systems, they said basically, oh yeah, we're not going to use that anymore. So now we're just going to roll 2 dice, and that's going to be the Winds of Magic. And you're going to use dice to cast spells, not cards. So everybody out there who has their $50 magic box sets, which I have 2 of them still in my attic, you basically just have something to throw away because you'll never use it again. I can't tell you how upset everybody was. It was just ridiculous that, Games Workshop made us buy these things to play, and now we just get to throw them away. Well, we went along with it. We tried it out. We played it. And when we quit being babies about it, it was a whole lot more balanced, a whole lot more fun, and things really worked out. It was a huge improvement, and I'm really glad we don't use that magic box set anymore with cards and all that mess. Same thing that really upset everybody was it went from percentages like now, like you get, it was 25% Lords and Heroes and all that. Well, they changed from that and made it slots, where you get, for every 1,000 points, you get 1 hero slot, 1 Lord slot. I think you got like 3 core slots, 2 special, and 1 rare. And then if you went up 1,000, everything jumped up, where you got an extra slot instead of a percentage. And when they changed back to percentages, when they changed to slots, all these people who were used to taking, let's say, I got so many points in rare, I'm going to take 4 giants with my orcs and goblins. Well, you couldn't do that anymore because now you had slots, and everybody's thinking, I got all these models I can't use anymore. I'm so mad, they just ripped me off, and they're going to have to buy my models back, and of course they didn't. And but it was better. It balanced the game. It took people who were taking 10 units of 5 Way Watchers, made it where, if you take a unit of Way Watchers, you just used up one of your 2 rare slots. You better make it a little bigger than 5. So it was better. Anyway, every time they've done this stuff, Games Workshop has improved. It's gotten better after every system, after every increase. It's gotten better. The Storms of Chaos came up next, and that was fun. That's where what's his name? The orc special character, the headbutt Archaon. That's where Archaon came from. I think he was already in the game, but that really brought him to the forefront. Grimgor Ironhide, that's where he came from. Characters died, special characters died, new ones came around. I think that's where Balthazar Gelt was first mentioned. It was big. Everybody thought the game was taking a turn for the worse. Their favorite characters were dying, but in the end, it was a huge improvement, and we got new characters and better story. And the Tutagen Guard came out for the Empire, and try and buy them now. They're like $50 for 5 or something, but it was a great move by Games Workshop, and it all worked out for the best. So now, when you look at this stuff now, the end times, the huge characters, the 50% heroes, 50% lords, no big deal. If they were going to keep this and keep it working this way, they would not be changing 8th edition. they would have made it ninth edition. All this stuff is going to go away. Right now, we're looking at the end times. It's a story point in their progression. That's another thing. Games Workshop has been in the same time era probably since I started. If they've changed it, it's been so small that I didn't even notice. All the same people are alive. Nothing's progressed. Nothing's changed. Same cities, same races, everything. Well, now they're actually moving forward. They're doing it in 8th edition, not ninth. And there's a reason for that. This is going to be just like Albion, where the island comes up and you have new characters pop up and new things you can use. Storms of Chaos had new units come in and all this stuff that you could use. It was overpowering, but it was for a campaign. Just like this is a campaign. This is going to end. The end times will stop. And then 9th edition will be ushered in with new rules, new army breakdowns, new composition. Everything is going to change, but this isn't the change that we're seeing now. Okay, the end times, you read the story, you'll have Helborg, Karl Franz, what's his name, Balthazar Gelt, all out there together at the same time. And that's the kind of story they're wanting to play right now. All these characters coming together, they're trying to make it epic, to make it huge and like big scale. On the bad side, you've got Nagash. He's 1,000 points. How are you going to take Nagash in a 2,500 point game or a 3,000 point game if you can't take 50% lords or heroes? All this stuff is coming up so that you can play big games with all the big heroes coming together under one banner and fighting it out. This is like an end times world war, and they're making it where you can play that way, not just read about it in the fluff. They want you to take part and have fun and play in it. Now, granted, they're making a ton of money, just like making this new lore of undeath. Well, now every army, no matter what you play, you can go buy undead model. Yeah, they're making a killing on it, but they're bringing you in and letting you play. 9th edition is going to come out when the end times are over. Nagash, if he's defeated, which I'm sure he will, he'll probably still be alive. They're not going to give you a huge, $80 model or whatever he is, $100 model, and then tell you what, you can't use him anymore. I'm glad you had fun with him the past 2 months. But he'll probably still be alive, still be usable, but he will be incredibly weakened. That's my theory. This is my theories for 9th edition. As I understand it, Karl Franz is going to come up and be the ascended Karl Franz, the embodiment of Sigmar. He's not going to stay that way. I'm willing to bet 9th edition, the embodiment of Sigmar, or Sigmar leaves him. He comes back to Karl Franz. He's incredibly weakened from what he is with 10 wounds. I don't think you're going to see Manfred running around with 10 wounds on a giant monster. All of these things, the winds of magic will be brought back under control. All these big things will still be allowed to be taken, but they're not going to be so devastating that they have to cost 1,000 points. I think we're going to get new army books, and they may combine armies like Undead and Tomb Kings. I would be disappointed, but I think they might do it. The biggest thing I think they're going to usher in with that sort of thing is allies, just like 40K. I know they have ally rules now, but I think like the new edition of 40K, they bring in like Battle Brothers and Uneasy Alliance. And you don't have to ask your opponent or have a special scenario. You bring in your allies if you want to. Whatever it is you want to take in, you just take them. It doesn't matter what they think. They can, characters join other units. Like you could have a Empire character and a High Elf unit. I don't know why you'd want to do that, but I think that's what they're going to usher in with all this joining forces stuff. Another thing, now this is just a shot in the dark. If this has been announced, I haven't heard it. I'm just taking a big guess. I think all this devastation, like the Empire being 80% wiped out, Kislev destroyed, and all this crazy stuff that we're hearing, I think part of this is Games Workshop's biggest competitor is War Machines and Hordes, Warmahordes. And the big argument that you get from War Machine and Hordes play, I don't think there's any comparison. I've tried War Machine. I know some people just live and die by it, and they just love it. to me, I hate the fact that your characters are already named, your characters are already given their abilities, you have to choose them and take them. Your units are already named and have the same abilities every time. There's just not enough customization for me. But other people argue with me, so whatever, that's not what this is for. But I think Games Workshop is going to say in ninth edition, now you have skirmish rules as well as big rules, the big wars, big battles, so that you can have somebody start playing Warhammer with 10 models or 20 models, just like War Machine and Hordes or Malifaux or any of these other games. They can do this with fantasy as well, so that it's not the daunting, I have to buy 300 models to put on the board before I can play. You tell me I have to paint, 200 guys before I can play. No, I think that's what they're going to do. And there's no way they're going to take away our big games. They're not going to take away these huge, massive battles, but I think we're going to get a rule set that has rules for skirmish, and not your old Warhammer skirmish like Mordheim, which was incredibly fun, by the way. But I think they're going to usher in like small games, 500-point games with their own rules and their own composition and their own characters and all that stuff, and then give you the opportunity to do big games too. So that being said, that's what I think is coming. I don't think everybody should be freaking out about this 50%, all that stuff. The lore of Undeath is very cool. I don't think it's overpowering. We'll have to see what the rules lawyers and all the tournament cheapskates come up with and how they can combine it and make something really sorry out of it. I'm sure they will, but I think it's a very cool and balanced lore. And that's really about it. I tell you, that 50% thing, if you go out there and you have 25% core and 75% characters, I think you're dead. I think you're going to get crushed unless your opponent does it too. So it's not like someone's going to go out there with 75% characters and just destroy everybody. I think you're going to get killed. But what I'm doing with it, and I'm really enjoying it, is I build about the same comp. But I've always had a problem with a 2,500 point list. I can't take an Ogre Tyrant and take a level 4 Ogre Butcher, or a Slaughtermaster. If you start giving them magic items, you don't have enough Lord points. So, yeah, with 50% Lords, what that means is I can give my Slaughtermaster that ward save I wanted to give him, or put the Hellheart on him, and still have a Tyrant. I can go over my normal 25% by 15 to 20 points and not feel like a total jerk for, coming out there with 6 models and saying, all right, here's my 2,500 point army. The same token, I don't know how many times I've come down to my last hero. I want to bring in a hero, and because of my BSB's 25 points, I can't afford the hero. So what do? Do you drop your BSB to put that hero in that you wanted, or something for I play a lot of fluff. I make up my own armies and my own characters, and sometimes I have an idea of what I want, and I can't do it because of that 25%. Well, hey, if I do 26%, I can do it, and that's fine. So that's really what I'm doing with the 50%. I hope we don't see a whole lot of stupidity with this and people abusing it. That's really what it is. Games Workshop doesn't make a lot of huge mistakes. People just abuse what Games Workshop puts out. It's a great game. It's a great company and a great system. And I guess that's about it. So, yeah, let me know what you think. If you think I'm totally wrong, or if you agree with me, or if there's something out there that's been announced and I haven't heard it and it's obvious by what I just said, then let me know, because I'm going to keep up with it. I'm going to keep playing. I hope to, if I could ever get used to it. We just had our 3rd child, and I'm trying to get back to where I can go and play more often, or just play, period. And start getting up more bat reps. I've been playing, like I said, 20 years. I don't plan on stopping now. I'm hoping to play it for another 20, and we'll just have to see. But thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed it, and let me know what you think.